Welcome to How You Pictured It, the podcast for creative entrepreneurs ready to grow their business in a way that feels good. Here you'll find actionable tips and tools to create the business and life you pictured. I'm your host, Kate Hyde with Dear Kate Brand Strategy. Let's get started. All right, I am so excited for my guest Paige to be here today. We are going to be talking about AI and all of the legalities with that. We did do a recent episode about AI and had a lot of questions about the legal stuff. So I am excited to have Paige here to tell us more about that. Paige, can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks for inviting me on the show, Kate. So my name is Paige Griffith. I am the owner and lead attorney behind the Legal Paige. We're a legal education platform that helps small business owners get legally legit, be their own CLOs, DIY the legal side of the business by themselves. We offer education and knowledge through our podcasts, our blogs, and our YouTube channel, as well as our social media posts. And then we also sell contracts and legal documents that people can use to, of course, beef up and protect themselves on the back end. So that is the business side of me. The personal side of me, I actually have a lot of experience in photography because I was a photographer for over 10 years. I still do it on the side as a hobby, but I have had to leave that full-time type of job on the side because I am focusing now on the Legal Paige. But that's really where TLP was born. Is I was in the legal world. I was going to law school. I was working for a federal judge, all while running a photography business. And so I was able to really bring those two passions of entrepreneurship and photography in the wedding world and the creative world to combine with my legal knowledge, education expertise, but also just love for the law. And I really saw that creatives, they needed an easy place to go, a soft landing, if you will, for asking legal questions. Like they were sick of going down rabbit holes online, like what was actually legitimate information, what wasn't. They didn't want to pay an arm and a leg for things. So personally, I have loved kind of going into this new direction with my business. And so I still do photography a little bit on the side, still a creative, just for all of you listening. I think it's really, really important to continue with those passions, especially when you're running a business. And then I am actually from Montana. So I have been born and raised in Montana, and I have my family here, my husband, my dog, my son, and that's me in a nutshell.
That's awesome. Where are you in Montana?
I'm in Missoula.
Okay. I have a sister-in-law in, I think, Billings. No, I can't even remember.
Billings is, it's the east side of Montana. I'm on the west side, like right in the middle of the Rocky Mountains. We're kind of the prettier side of Montana, I'm not going to lie. So mountains all around me, hiking, lakes, skiing, all the outdoor rec stuff.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm in Colorado, so same.
You get it.
Yeah. So what did you do photography-wise? Were you weddings?
Yeah, I primarily shot weddings on the weekends, but to be very honest with you, when I look back at it, I was like, oh yeah, I used to qualify myself as a wedding photographer. I totally was, but I'm pretty sure I did more family photography.
Really?
Yeah, and portraits. Like Montana as a whole, it's not as big as Colorado. And at the time, there just wasn't as many photographers. Like it was still pretty saturated. But I say that because I couldn't just do weddings.
Yeah.
I feel like I needed to serve the community with every type of portrait photography that I could offer. So I really specialized in families, senior photography, and then I did weddings on the weekends. But You're in Colorado, you get it. We have short wedding seasons.
Yeah.
So it was like a couple months out of the year.
Yeah. I have never been a wedding photographer. That is not my, nope. That's not for me. But even just like our family season is short because it gets cold and you don't want red noses. So yeah,
totally. I get it.
So let's talk about AI, and kind of the legal side of it. So lots of AI things exist. Is there something specific you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think we should first honestly just talk about why we're having this discussion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you and I, we're a little bit deeper into it than most people. And what I'm seeing right now is, you had that episode with Dawn. I've listened to it. Dawn is one of my really good friends.
Love it.
I find AI fascinating, and I think it's so important to kind of jump on the bandwagon quickly.
Yes.
But other people are kind of in this like totally unaware stage. They've heard of it. They kind of think of it like video games where you're putting on headsets and you're like playing with AI situations.
Yeah.
But a lot of people haven't translated that into how you can run your business, especially your photography business, effectively. So, I mean, I think everyone should definitely go back and listen to Dawn's episode first.
Yes.
But in a nutshell, what I am really interested in is one, like, why AI? Why do we all need to kind of start thinking about it now versus in a couple of years? And what are the concerns about AI that we all have and some misconceptions?
Yes.
And then what part of our business lives are really ready for this?
Right.
And how is it going to take over a lot of potential jobs, or what are you comfortable with and the ethics behind it? And then we can get into the legalities of it, because I think that's important for people to have a base knowledge.
Yeah.
And you and I can just discuss that before I talk about like copyright implications.
Yeah. I think there is like this huge fear around it because it's so new. And I think that understanding what it is huge. And like with Dawn, we talked about how it's really like a machine or a software that's learning your preferences and learning from what you give it, basically, right? And then helping us with output. So like we've got Imagine, I can never say it right.
I say Imogen because that's what it looks
okay,
like.
Yeah, same. And then Dawn told me it was Imagine, and I was like, oh, makes sense.
It's like Verbo and VRBO. We're like, I don't know which one it is.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, but that's like editing for you, basically, and taking, mostly I feel like these tools are saving us time right now, which is the biggest thing and the biggest reason that I see for using them.
Yeah, absolutely. AfterShoot helps you cull, right? ChatGPT that's like the buzzword lately because ChatGPT came out and lots of people are like, what the heck can this do? It's like writing things for me. For business owners, like one, just go get a ChatGPT account and play around with it.
Yes.
After you look at Imagine and AfterShoot, those are like the two number ones for photographers right now. I think it's just going to help you speed along the process, especially if you are DIYing everything yourself. Like you're wearing all of the hats as a photographer by yourself. You need to outsource, and like business cheap outsourcing. So let's do it.
Yeah.
And ChatGPT is this new open AI source that's allowing people to type in input. You prompt ChatGPT with things, and they will output a textual response to it.
Yeah.
So I like to use it, and I think you guys should all go get an account and start using it for like social media hooks. And so you type in, I need a social media hook that is one sentence long in regards to X topic. And I promise, and then always tell ChatGPT, like, give me 10 options.
Yeah.
And it'll just like give you 10 options, and they're so good. And then I always tell people, go back, like keep curating those answers from ChatGPT. So then you type in, okay, now rewrite those responses using the brand voice of, and enter your email. Yeah. I mean, it's like mind blowing what it's inputting everything from public source. So from the internet, it's all about like what has been put out on the internet for the past 20 years. And that is what the robot and the algorithm is telling ChatGPT to push out. So go use that. It's really good for like blog titles as well, rewriting your bio. If you are just not someone that's a copywriter or has a lot of experience writing, right? Like you're not a creative writer. It's great for that. It can help you creative write. Rewriting template emails. This is great as well. If you like think things are too lengthy as a photographer, they probably are. So let's help our clients digest it a little bit better, and it can rewrite things in shortened sentences for you. So can like Simplified can do that as well. That's a really another really good AI source.
Yeah.
We've actually been using Descript here at the Legal Paige.
Yeah.
We're just kind of testing out its abilities for editing blog or editing podcasts, editing videos,
Yep.
and kind of seeing like what it can do.
Yeah.
Honestly, the main concern here is like the robot sounds like a human.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
should we trust? Like
Right.
trust is the big issue.
Yeah. Yeah, this is true. And, I was even listening to the radio this morning and they were talking about, worried that our jobs are going to be taken, or creative industry, especially, jobs would be taken. But I think I was thinking about it, and I was thinking how when I don't have to spend so much time researching, like to get like a really like nebulous answer that ChatGPT can kind of pull, like it's doing the research for me and spitting out an answer so much faster than had I like gone to Google and typed in what I was looking for and then read through the articles and tried to like process it all. ChatGPT is coming back with an answer for that. So I'm saving time on the research end, which allows me more time for the creative part of it, I feel like, and opens up that
Absolutely.
opportunity.
And the customer service part of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we can get away from a lot of those mundane tasks as photographers, we can get back to serving our clients better.
Yeah.
If you using an AI platform allows you to get your final product back to the clients faster, they're going to be happier. If it's a cheaper way for you, you end up translating those costs onto the clients down the road. It's the trickle down effect, and you have more competitive pricing and clients are happier. Like,
right.
It's all about you going back to, okay, what can AI help me with customer experience wise?
Yes.
In my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and just like even going deeper with that idea that it's opening us up for more of the creative thinking, and like you have to think back to other technologies that have advanced us as a civilization and advanced us as people. And like, think our biggest concerns used to be like, how do we heat food? Like how do we cook things, or how do we, get from one place to the other? And when those problems were solved, it allowed us to be smarter and think harder and deeper and come up with new solutions to different problems. So like throughout civilization, all of these little technological advances have really shifted and changed what our concerns are. It's like that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we're like, it's making it so that we have all of those like base needs satisfied, and we can do the like more rewarding things and dig really into more interesting stuff, I feel like.
No, I'm totally with you. My biggest concerns, and I think what everybody is worried about is like, is it going to become smarter than humans?
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to replace jobs? And that is, we have an audience, like we have lots of contractors that follow the Legal Paige. And I know from my DMs and my emails back from them is like, I'm worried this is going to take away my job. Like even in our Slack, we had our operations assistant respond back to me. I was like giving her a couple AI tools that I had found online. And I was like, hey, you should try this. Like, let's test it out. And her immediate response back to me was, this is going to take away my job. Oh no. And she didn't mean it in like, I'm letting her go kind of sense.
Right.
It's just like, that is the initial worry. The one thing I always tell people is like, it's not human. It is a robot. It's not self-aware. It's not empathic.
Yeah.
And what makes like the human spirit human is important. And that can't become a part of this robot and this AI technology that's coming out. So there is an issue that some of the jobs that AI is really, really, really good at could potentially be gone. And I get that. Like I even just said, a podcast editor, for example, it can do those tasks because you're literally just telling a robot to like clip certain things.
Yeah.
And make the audio sound better. That is all stuff that it can be trained to do.
Right.
The empathy, the creativity, like the artistry, that is not something a robot can do. It's trying, but we've all seen those weird ass images out there that are like, this is absolutely created by a freaking robot, right?
Yeah.
Like your creativity, your experience as well. Like, I mean, the legal world is worried about it. The medical world is worried about it. We are all concerned.
Yeah.
Is this going to replace a job in X sense?
Yeah.
And for you, the one thing I would say, and then we can move on here, because you can tell I'm really passionate about this.
Me too.
I think it's going to become commonplace. I think it's going to become a part of everyday life. And if you don't figure it out sooner rather than later on like how it can benefit your business and how you, like you said, like it will get me back to thinking about the things that really matter and what I really need to be thinking about in the education and the creativity and like why my business has a USP, all of those things. Like that is how you're going to be ahead of your counterparts in a year, in 6 months from now, because AI is pushing out apps like nobody's business and people are taking note.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and like, honestly, even it gives you a leg up so fast. Like just using it once is going to help you, get ahead a little bit, incrementally, as you use it and really understand how to use it, I think is the big thing. Personally with ChatGPT, when I put something in and I get a response, I always like tweak it and then ask more questions and try to get to like the heart of it so that I'm in there, I don't like to copy paste anything from ChatGPT. How do you feel about that? So you've got a website for your small business, but you're not really sure if it's working. I've got a brand new free resource that gives you a grade for your website, like old school report card. It's a super easy to use checklist. You'll go through, answer questions, and at the end, you'll get a grade for each page of your site, plus your site overall. And you'll also get next steps to what you need to do to make your website convert and connect with your dream clients. So you have a site that sells your services for you, and you can get back to life just how you pictured it. Head to dearkatebrandstrategy.com/report card to get that free resource now.
Yeah, to be very frank with you, this is one of the legal concerns. Like, where is it sourcing this information from? And is that information copyrighted?
Right.
So if that is going to be this like ongoing debate, there's two basic debates two sides of the debate.
Yeah.
That it should be open, like people should be able to use it, that anything that these robots are coming up with can be copy and pasted. And then there's other theories of thought that are like, one, of course, ChatGPT can lie, can be biased, can have kind of a morphed sense of reality. And you have to read into that. That is where the human aspect comes in. And I am in your boat where I'm thinking, copy and paste is absolutely not the name of the game here. You need to look at it and then tweak it ever so slightly to match your brand voice, to match how you would say that out loud to your friend if you were just having a casual conversation in the street, or if you were having like an initial discovery call with a photography client. So I definitely don't think copying and pasting is the way to go, especially because you don't know if it copy and pasted portion of that section from a certain blog that's copyrighted.
Right.
We can also get into here, like, this is the concern with the U.S. Copyright Office and why they launched an initiative last week, an office-wide initiative for AI.
Okay.
It's like the highest offices in the U.S. and departments are taking note of this, and copyrightability is the number one concern.
Yeah, that's huge. I didn't know that was happening. I'm glad to hear it because it's confusing. And like, we were talking about this. I was talking about this with Dawn about how like, if you ask it for an outline for something, is it pulling that outline from another person's website? And then like, how much different does if you're following the same outline as somebody else's blog post, are you infringing on their copyright? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, so ideas can be copyrightable.
Okay.
They can be copyrighted with the U.S. Copyright Office. So it's like this weird dilemma and distinction between, is it just an idea that then it's regurgitating output using various ways to rewrite that paragraph?
Yeah.
How much of it is plagiarized, so to speak? Like, is it verbatim? Is it using your brand tone? That's why I was telling people, like, ask it to do certain things with its initial response from you.
Right.
Because then you're going to get a more curated answer that better aligns with your business. And I would probably argue is less issues with copyright infringement.
Yeah.
Or has less issues with copyright infringement. So yeah. And then the other side of the coin here is like, when you then put that on your website, okay? Or you use that bio, or you use that text to basically put copy all over your website. Are those, once you've even tweaked it, and is that copyrightable?
Right.
And this is what the U.S. Copyright Office is looking at right now. And like the legal world, our eyebrows are raised. We're like, wait, what? You can copyright AI supplemented works? And the Copyright Office said yes.
Wow. Okay.
But it's all about the balancing act between how much you as a human contributed to the end work, the final product. And then you also, the Copyright Office last week issued this huge memorandum and article in the Federal Register, which is a federal publication. They've never done this before. And they gave people the play-by-play on how you have to give the copyright notice and have a proper disclosure of the AI's contribution to the work in order for you to get a valid copyright registration if you're submitting the application. And all of us are like, yeah, no, duh.
Right.
But then what happens for people that haven't said AI contributed to it and they already submitted registration? The U.S. Copyright Office kind of addressed that, but not totally. This is why they're launching this initiative. And then people who are just like not going to disclose it. If it's so smart and it's really close to looking like a human created it, how are you going to know if AI supplemented that work in some way? So these are the legal things that are happening right now. The sad news is the legal world is going to be behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's slow. Slow. It's always been slow. There's bureaucracy. There's court systems.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's backed up. And so you can't make laws and regulations and stipulations and parameters around AI when AI is way faster than what's going on in the legal world.
Yeah.
So I foresee that kind of this Copyright Office top dog that's issuing statements surrounding the copyrightability of AI generated works is going to have a trickle down effect. We're going to see more laws, more regulations, more parameters, legally speaking, regarding AI content. But online, it's just like, really, how are they going to monitor it? That's my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so tricky because honestly, like, how can you even tell if something was written by ChatGPT or not? Like, that's really tricky. And
it is really tricky. ChatGPT, I think they're getting a lot of flack about it, and other AI sources like the Google source that's coming out that might integrate with like 365 and Google Docs and spreadsheets. And I'm like, heck yes, that is going to be so beneficial to us as creatives who most of us have Gmail accounts and utilize that resource because it's complimentary, which is worthwhile, or it's a part of like your Gmail bundle that you buy.
Yeah.
And Microsoft is coming out with something as well that's supposed to be a competitor of ChatGPT. And they're saying that they might have like clear and transparent watermarks over AI created sources. And I know it's fascinating because they're trying to be able to show like that this text came entirely from ChatGPT or from these like text AI sources.
Yeah.
And it's be like, you need to tweak it a little bit, but then how much tweaking gets rid of that like transparent somewhere in the code watermark that I have no idea. I'm not that smart to figure out.
No.
And And then I was listening to the Today Show this morning, which is really interesting because I'm like, oh my gosh, the Today Show is talking about this. Like they're trying to get into the living rooms of the 40-year-olds, the 50-year-olds, the 60-year-olds who are like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
What is AI? I am scared. Where do I go to get it? And they had this like quick 5-minute segment on it. And one of the things that they were saying is, a lot of parents and people along those lines are concerned about their kids not being able to write, not have the basic skill set to write. Because as we all know, kids in college and kids in high school, they're using it. They're using it for essays. They're using it for their whatever they need to submit to get a grade. And they're apparently, and I would assume this is going to come out, is there's going to be AI technology that can detect. So like a teacher could buy this AI technology, or, the education program, the county could buy this program, and the teachers could just input it and see if these, AI text output sources were the ones that produced it. But I'm like, again, it goes back to how much do we need to change it?
Right.
How much do we need to change it so that it doesn't detect that? This is going to be this ongoing battle, this copyrightability, this ethical battle as well. Those go hand in hand, legal and ethics. Yeah. And so you as a business owner just need to decide, like, what are you comfortable with? What do you want to use it for in your business? Take baby steps, but definitely don't just like sit on the sidelines.
Yeah. Yeah. Side note, do you watch South Park?
I don't.
Oh my gosh, there's a ChatGPT episode, so it's worth watching if you have HBO Max.
I'm gonna YouTube it right after this.
Pretty funny because the kids are using ChatGPT. Well, the boys are using it to text their girlfriends. Is how it starts. Hilarious.
That would be beneficial to men who have no idea how to communicate towards women.
Yes, it's so funny. It's a good episode, but back to the topic a little bit more. Let's talk about plagiarism. What's the line? Like, how do you draw that line between what's original and what's plagiarized? Like, if you're using, going back to that concept of asking for an outline for something and then filling in that outline, is that?
It's a basic legal answer of it depends.
Okay.
And it's this massive gray area. It's just like how a teacher would basically be determining if this is plagiarism or not, right? Like how verbatim is it taken from X site? The problem that we have is, unlike you writing an essay and submitting it, that's kind of what we all know. I would say our generation, millennials, Gen Zers, like our generation kind of knows that plagiarism really happened in school.
Yeah.
And that's where we first learned about it. And it's like, don't take something that you found online and put it in a Word doc and submit it to your teacher. The problem here is you have no idea where that source is coming from.
Right.
So we can't trace it back to the source because these AI platforms are not giving us those sources.
Yeah.
That is something actually that Microsoft AI program, I know that the founder of it, or the person, the creator of it behind it, the developer, came out and said, like, unlike ChatGPT and these other programs, we really want to be able to implement sourcing and citations in our output. And that's important to us. I think that was a really smart move on Microsoft's part because it's Microsoft. So utilizing, and like I said, it's just going to get smarter and smarter, and AI technology as a whole is going to start taking note of why people care about this AI program versus this AI program. And I could foresee plagiarism. And again, plagiarism here isn't necessarily the concern. I think it's copyright.
Okay. Like
copyright infringement of things that are found online and what constitutes fair use and what doesn't. And right now, AI technology is fair use. It's fair game. It's been on the internet for 20 years. It's giving you a little bit of a different output. It's not going to give you verbatim of something. It would never want to steal copyright. That is, I'm almost positive that's built into the algorithm.
Okay. That's good to know. That's good info. Cause I'm always leery of how much of this can I use and how much do I need to change? And, and like, I feel like the more questions you ask it, like the more it views into being something unique. Like the more parameters you give it. Like, for example, I asked it for a headline for something, and I used a headline template that I have from Ashlyn Carter, for copywriting. Like, she has headline templates that I love, but I said, like, write me a headline using this format about this. And it pops out your headline, and it's like pretty good. So.
Oh, it is super good. Parameters are really important. You don't just want to give it like a blanket prompt and assume that the initial output is what you should be using in copying and pasting.
Yeah.
So if you guys get anything out of this episode, legally speaking, make sure you're tweaking it or make sure that you are narrowing down the parameters on whatever textual output that, say, ChatGPT is giving you.
Yeah.
Other AI programs like AfterShoot and like Imagine or Imagine, whatever we're going to call it, the copyrightability of the images is already owned by you. So we don't have an issue with copyright there. We don't really have an issue with if you're giving it like base presets, those type of things for batch editing, like they're yours. You created them. It's important to go back and just do like a thorough look through, but we're going to do that if we have a photo editor editing things for us as well. Like, you want to be the final glance. Again, I'm not super worried about images that you created and the copyrightability surrounding it. Legally though, I am, this is like my big thing that I have been diving into in my team is, how do we tell our clients about this?
Yeah.
Is it similar to subcontractors where we can hire them and we don't really have to disclose? Or is it more of an ethical and legal issue of disclosure to protect yourself and any liability that could come up with using AI technology? I agree with the latter because we have no idea what's going to happen in the coming years. And I think regulations surrounding disclosure are going to come out.
Yeah.
I think this is being seen right now on a federal level with the U.S. Copyright Office being like, no, you need to disclose this. So I think it's really important for us to disclose it to our clients.
Yeah.
And some people feel weird about that. They don't really know how to do it. I think you can easily do it in like a clause in your contract, just like if you had an associate that was, I mean, this is kind of a different scenario, but if you had an associate who was shooting something for you and they were the lead photographer and going to be there and had a large contribution to the final works, you're going to disclose that in a clause. So AI technology, if you're utilizing it for a lot of the work that, like post-production work that you're doing, I would suggest that you disclose that. It doesn't need to be right in center in the middle of your contract. It can be down towards the bottom in those general provisions or boilerplate languages. My gosh, I cannot talk today. Boilerplate language. Say that 5 times fast. That's difficult. Like, that's where I would suggest a clause like this be. Yeah. And it's just one thing that you copy and paste, you put it into your contract. We have them at thelegalpaige.com. We have a feeling that these are going to become more and more commonplace in contracts. And the last thing I will say here is website terms and conditions. Yeah. So not just your clients, but disclosure purposes on your website. Because we have copyright disclosures within our website terms and conditions. Everyone's really aware of that, right? I own the copyright to the images on my website. You're going to tell users you own that copyright in your TNCs. You're going to disclose any type of trademarks. You're going to disclose any type of like limitations surrounding, the usability of your website. If you have affiliate links, so on and so forth, right? There is going to be a big opportunity for people to disclose AI generated content because lots of photographers are going to use AI technology to supplement things on their website. And I think you just need to say that. Like, we use AI generated technology to do XYZ on our website and we like disclaim any liability surrounding it. It's kind of putting the liability back on the AI program that you used.
Okay.
Now this gets a little tricky because the AI programs are also giving you non-exclusive licenses to use. So it's like, who's really liable here? And I think that is going to be the issue that comes up in court cases.
Yeah, everybody's passing the buck, right?
Yeah, that's totally what it is. But do it.
Yeah,
try to pass it yourself.
Yeah. Don't be the one that's not passing it. When it comes to like Imagine an AfterShoot, so are you do you know if you're uploading to those programs, like if like is the concern that there's like a leak and that people's photos go out, or what's the concern about liability there, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the concern with every single AI program, right? Like, how much are you inputting that's something that you own and have IP into the program? And then what is it doing with that information?
Right.
These AI programs have disclaimers on them that they're not keeping any of your IP. They're not like sourcing any of that information. It's just on public source on whatever they're regurgitating and responding to you with. I don't know the answer to this because I think it's sticky. It's a worry. I could foresee that some AI programs and developers might skirt around this issue and try to utilize people's IP to produce better responses with their AI program. Yeah. I don't know though. That's just a theory. You guys can take it or leave it. Again, I think that as the crazy thing is like, how are judges going to interpret these types of cases? They're going to literally have coders probably on the stand and making like expert disclosures in cases because we don't know. Lawyers don't know. And certainly 60-year-old judges don't know how to actually look at what is the code and algorithm of this program telling it to do and where is it getting this information from.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, like just the generational like variance too on using this stuff, I think is really interesting. And it'll be interesting to see, like my 89-year-old great grandma or grandma has Facebook. Will she start using AI? Who knows?
Right. Probably not. I mean, I've been talking to my parents about it and they're like, this is scary. Scary is the word I would say. And I am not touching it with a 10-foot pole. And all of us are like, oh my God, tell me how to use it.
Yeah.
This is so cool. What is the technology? Like, I got to be ready for when our kids are in college. It is a part of their everyday life. They're going to have massive AI apps that they use every single day. So I want to have the knowledge base so that I can parent better.
Right.
And I'm older.
It's so
anyway, generational things is absolutely a concern right now, but that is not who AI is targeting.
Right. Have you seen, I just saw today that Canva has a new AI like magic wand and magic eraser for photos.
Yeah, Canva is honestly, I can only imagine the conversations. I would love to be a fly on the wall of some of those board meetings, or whatever they're talking about. Canva is going to have to move fast.
Yeah.
And I know that they're concerned about it, especially for creatives, because they're $1 billion company. Like, they make a ton of money and they were the leader in this for so long. Like, when we got background image remover on Canva, everybody was super jazzed about it. And that just happened a couple of years ago, I think, or like a year ago. It was really soon.
Yeah.
And these AI programs have been able to do it forever. So they're having to keep up with the times.
Yeah. But I feel like they're making it more accessible. Like Canva makes it more accessible to use AI tools than for somebody that's not so into technology. I love
agree with that. And I agree with that. But I also think that it's because we're so comfortable with Canva.
Right.
And we know, and we're in it every single day. So Canva has a leg up here that if they can start implementing AI, and that is why I'm like, I want to be in the room here.
Yeah.
They're thinking, we got to get, oh my gosh, this program has this tool, AI tool. We got to get it in our program because all of the users are on our program and people hate change. People don't want to learn a new program. So, and that's what's clunky about these AI technology programs is like you go in and you're like, what? Why did the developer set it up this way? It's not user friendly. So Canva, you are 100% right, is always, always going to be superior to these programs as long as they can implement it quickly. Yeah. So I bet they're hiring like psychos right now.
Oh yeah, I bet
that they can get this as a part of Canva. But yeah, I'm really excited as a photographer and a creative, and my entire team is on Canva. We have, probably hundreds of thousands of like images and documents and graphics and everything on Canva that we've utilized for the past, 8 years. And it's going to be really cool to see what the program comes out with. So I'm very excited about it.
I saw somebody editing an image in Canva today where it was like a picture of water and sky, and they ran the brush over the sky and typed in like, I want birds and trees in the sky, in a sunny sky. And Canva gave them like 4 options of AI image. Like it was crazy to see how fast and easy some of that stuff can be. For like, that's advanced Photoshop.
Well, totally. I mean, Lightroom did it. Lightroom has where you can grab the sky and you can grab the background and you can grab people's faces. And we love seeing that. It's just going to make our work more efficient. It's going to get us back. If we're going to tie this episode up with a bow, it's absolutely going to get us back to doing what is most important for us.
Yes.
What does your marketing look like? How are you, boosting your client experience? How are you having competitive pricing? How, are you explaining your USP to clients better and better and better? So that is honestly, I just love AI.
Well, and like, it feels like, the aliens, robots taking over, but also it gives us time for more human connection. And so I think it's just really important to embrace it as much as you can and be careful legally to make sure you're making those changes and entering parameters and all of those things, but embrace it. I'm so excited about all of this technology. It's so cool.
Me too. Thanks for chatting with me about it. This was a fun combo.
Yeah. Thanks so much for coming on. It was a great conversation. Paige, where can people find you online?
Yeah, I am really easy to find. TheLegalPaige.com on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. We have a podcast called The Legal Paige Podcast. We have a Facebook community with thousands of business owners in it called The Legal Paige Community. So if you have additional questions, you can always reach out to us there. And we are going to be pushing out a bunch of new AI content. So definitely look for our blogs and our YouTubes and our podcasts on that.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Paige.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Thanks so much for joining me on this episode of How You Pictured It. I love hearing from you. Reach out to me on Instagram at Dear Kate Brand Strategy, and be sure to rate and review the podcast in whatever player you're listening to. It helps us so much to spread the word. Thanks again, and I will talk to you soon.